go back and work for somebody.
Good morning, Zena.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
How's everybody doing?
Good, good. How about you? How about y'all?
I'm good. Oh, I guess I should go wake up Tony.
Give him a couple more minutes. More minutes.
Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Happy
Yeah.
Tuesday. Hope you guys are well. I'm going to go ahead and give everyone else a couple more minutes to join the call before we get started. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hope you guys are having a happy Monday, or actually Tuesday. It's Tuesday. All right. So, can everybody hear me? Please let me know if you guys can hear me.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent.
Yes.
What's going on, Marcel?
Hey, good morning, Watts. How you doing?
Good, good, good. Let me change this real quick. All right. So it looks like we're continuing to move higher on the daily chart. We didn't get too much resistance to the downside, and we're consistently creating higher highs and higher lows. Okay. So we know that we're receiving higher highs and higher lows on the daily time frame. What does that mean as far as the day trend? Are we trending up or are we trending down?
Bullish.
Bullish. Thank you very much. So if the case is we're trending bullish, that means we're going to potentially have to enter into the market at a place where we believe we may not see too much more selling. And that looks like it's around this area here. This is the 4-hour chart. We can see that we have a clear zone. This point right here looks like 57.70, 57.80. Okay, basically between 57.70 and 57.80. If we can stay above 57.80, then we should be bullish on the day. If we are below 57.60, then we are bearish. Okay, so that's the zone that we're in right now. I'm going to go ahead and notate that as well. So anytime we get under 57.60, it's going to look like the trend is going to reverse to the other direction, for the most part. All right, that's what it currently looks like here. This 4-hour time frame, we were able to break out of pre-market. I think we got up to as high as 57.94. Okay, so that would be again our area of resistance based on the fact that as soon as we hit that, it looks like we got some downside momentum. Okay, so if we are going to be taking things to the upside, we have to keep in mind that there could be some turbulence around this 57.93, 57.90, 57.95, around that area. You could start to see some sellers hop in. And that's obviously because we're then going to be inching into all-time highs all over again. My immediate opinion about the market today is we are going to receive all-time highs. I don't see a reason as to why we don't go into 5,800 and even further up from there. I just don't see why we don't do that today. Okay. We have all indications, at least on each time frame, that we should be going up. But if we do go down, we at least know where it is. We're just going to start trending if we're going down. Okay. So if we get under 57.80, that's when you start to have just a talk with yourself and say, hey, this could go either way here. Okay. This zone, it can go either way. This area in here. Okay. You're literally seeing green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red. Back and forth, back and forth. Right? You're literally having these things being seen literally from a standpoint of how it's bouncing in between the zones. So you want to make sure that you're keeping focus with that. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions, y'all?
Hey, Wasi.
What's up?
I don't have nothing at the moment.
So, if you start to see like some hesitation around 57.70,
Yeah.
could that be considered a bottom before it jumps back up?
Yeah, I think 57.70 really is, like, we always talk about those round numbers. 57.70 looks like we had a bounce here on the 200 EMA on the 15-minute chart. So that should be a bounce level, essentially, where buyers essentially fight back, right? So 56.70 is kind of like your first line of defense. Then I would say 57.65, 57.60. That's when it starts getting really bloody in those areas. But 57.70 is probably the next level after 57.75. So you really just want to look at the round numbers 50, 50, 50. If we're looking at it 5800, then you go down 57.95, 57.90, 57.80. Those key levels just seem to have some interaction as we get into these higher highs. So just be vigilant about your profit taking, especially if you're already in an area where there are there's potential resistance. So that's all I'll say for that.
Thanks.
Yep. Anybody else have any other questions? Anybody see anything different on the chart?
Hey, Washer.
Yo,
Yeah, one more.
yeah.
So if you see a move, say around like 9:35,
Hmm.
I guess earlier enough before that 10 o'clock news.
Yeah.
But after that 10 o'clock news, you feel like things are settling out around like what, 10:15, 10:30?
It really just depends on what you see, really, because some news does have a knee-jerk reaction and some news doesn't, right? Some news typically would actually incentivize people to actually be out of the market and watch the market go sideways. Some news, brings in a lot of volatility, for whatever reason. So, I mean, all news really isn't created equal. I'm sure most of you guys that have been with us for a while now have that understanding, right? Like, just because we're on the news to talk about one thing, CPI report, whatever, job report, whatever, doesn't necessarily mean the market's going to go up or down or sideways. It's just, there's, different reasons for these things. But for the most part, the more research that I do, the more I see that typically when there is news, it really follows the daily chart, really. I've seen that quite frequently. So really, it's just going to be about following the trend for the day, but then kind of going back and looking at prehistoric data, seeing potentially, what has occurred already, even on the larger time frame, that can potentially have the market still hold at, different price levels and things like that.
I'm not able to look at it, but do we have any news today? And if so, what time?
I'm not even sure. I'm not even the news guy. Does anybody else know if we have any red folder events today?
Yeah, there is 10 o'clock news.
10 o'clock? Okay,
Red
10 o'clock.
red folder.
Red folder. 10 o'clock red folder we have today. So that would be a good reason to, if you do see profits early, take them. I wouldn't keep my money on the table out there while the news report goes on. If anything, you know, if I believe if anything does happen today regarding the news, it should be going up. That's just my immediate opinion. Don't quote me on it. But that's just what I think I'm gonna see today. But like I said, if we don't, then we already know what levels we're gonna be falling at. So just be mindful of that. But for me, based on the formation of the chart, I'm looking at the 4-hour chart. I'm seeing an inverse H. Do you guys see that?
Yes.
Inverse H.
Yes.
Yes. I see it.
Okay. So obviously
Okay.
the hump on the H here is obviously it's sideways movement. So you're not really seeing the hump here, but really when we have the inverse H, we have the long stem, right? The bullish lead up. Then we have consolidation / retest, and then we have a breakout.
Going up. Okay.
You see? So
Yeah.
that's what I see potentially happening on the day. Now, like I said, new facts bring new opinions. So if we do fall to levels that break that structure, then we would just have to believe otherwise, right? Because for what it's worth, let's say we don't break out here, right? Let's say this next candle doesn't break out, okay? Then what this formation would simply be is a double top. And that a double top would mean what? Downside, right? This being the first top and then this being the second top. Okay, this top didn't break past this one, right? So we wouldn't necessarily call it a higher high over here, which essentially would mean it would be a double top and take us down. Okay, so if we're breaking over 57.90, that's a good indication that we're going to be breaking all-time highs. If we could break 57.90, that's almost guaranteeing that we're going to break all-time highs. Okay, because that would mean we're creating another high, and that's going to be another high on even a larger time frame. This is the 1 hour chart. Okay, so same thing on the 4 hour chart. Okay, if we break above 57.90, we get to regain momentum to the upside and then potentially break through. As we can see, even on the left here, the body doesn't even get over, what's this? This is 57.83, and we are already over the body, right? Look at this line here. If you look towards the left, right, but then look towards the right, we're even as we're trading now, we're already over the body, right? Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing?
Yep. Yep.
We're already over the body from when we broke highs, okay? And we got a lot of good volume right within that area. So for me, I'm just saying, okay, this low on this candle, this 4 hour candle is 57.81. Okay, we could safely call that 57.80. If we don't go below 57.80, that only means we're going the other direction, which is going to be up. All right, does all that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Great, great.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah, it's gonna really just take the repetition for it to really stick, especially if you watch it happen like literally in real time. Then you'll kind of get the understanding of what's actually occurring, right? So yeah. Does anybody else have any other questions?
I kind of drew a line around there, but
Mhm.
you figured to break that and go to all times high. I didn't know. I drew a line right there, but I was thinking it might go lower, so I didn't know.
Mhm.
But because it's a bullish trend,
Yeah,
it'll probably keep going up.
yeah, that's at least the thought process. But like I said, new facts are going to bring new opinions. So all we need to see is downside for us to believe that we would be going the other direction. So if we don't even have to get all the way down to 57.40. If we break through 57.80, then the next target is going to be 57.70, right? And if we break 57.70, then obviously 57.60 is a key pivotal level. If we get below that, that means we're going to start trending low and start going the other direction. Okay. But if none of that ever happens, then we're only going to go up.
You don't think you're saying if it drops down to 57, would it be 57.50? You don't think it'll be a bounce back?
I think if there's going to be a bounce, it's going to have to be at 57.60. If we break 57.60, that's really breaking the trend. That's making us go the other direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 57.60 was yesterday's low.
It was? See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that. Yeah. Yeah, that's yesterday's lows. So everybody, that means this whole candle is getting retraced, right? This whole candle would then be getting retraced. So if all the buyers here are now getting knocked out, and then we get, back into the zone, breaking 57.60 is going to be key to going downside.
So how you looking at it, Wasi? Because you came up with 57.60 without knowing yesterday that was yesterday's low. But
Yeah,
how you coming up with 57.60 as a breaking point?
that's a great question. So if you're looking at this chart now, you're seeing all of these bodies of these candles, right? You're seeing all the bodies of these candles. You're seeing a red candle, green, red, green, red, and this is a 4 hour chart, by the way.
Right.
So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 20. Like this is about like almost 50 hours of action in the same area. Which
Yeah.
that at some point in time, something's gonna have to give. Now, we actually ended up breaking that area to the upside, but every time we were getting a bounce, it was near that 5760 area. And we know that usually the key psychological levels are going to be the round numbers, right? So without even knowing yesterday's low, I can just look at the chart and say, well, this everything is hovering above this area, and the closest psychological level we have is 5760. So once it hits that level, boom, things start happening, and then you'll start to see either some upside or some massive downside. Look at these wicks after 5760, right? But
Yeah.
what the wicks show us is that by the time the candle was over, we were still back in the zone, back above 5760, right? So
Yeah.
that's how these candles form. This candle formed, we opened, we went up, we went down. By the time we went down, we came back up again. The buyers bought it up. Once it closed, once is this next candle, it closed above 5760, right? So that's our level. All right, this one here. Obviously, we had some interaction with the body at 5760, but for the most part, that's what we're looking at. And so on and so forth for the rest of these candles, right? So that's how you come up with that, is really looking at the chart and saying, where do we keep bouncing off of, and where does the body keep closing above? At that point in time, that's how you make that decision.
Nice. I can see how you're looking at that and came up with 5780 too, because it's doing the same thing at the top.
Exactly, on the other side, exactly. It's literally doing it, but just just above it. So it's the same idea, really. So usually when you look at the higher time frames, you're going to start to see some of the same things happening. But you could only do that if you take the time to go back and look at it.
And as far as a higher time frame, you normally use the 4 hour, or you
I'm always looking at the 4 hour, at least during pre-market. Like I want to know what story's being told. Like imagine this: if you don't have the 4 hour chart up, you might not even see an inverse H loading, right? If you're at a smaller time frame, you don't know what you're looking at over here. Now, there's things that are happening, but you don't really have certainty around what's going on, because you see all this, especially yesterday. Look at yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday
was
was
all
so
solid.
muddy. Right now, am I saying you can't make money? That's not what I'm saying. However, there's a lot of patience you're gonna have to exude. There's a lot of like frustration you might feel when you feel there might be a breakout. This is all low volume. Like that's not what you want, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the main idea behind that. If anything else, it's just gonna be really about having the patience to say, okay, I'm making the right decision, based off of whether or not my price levels are at where they're supposed to be. Once you get that intact, that's all that matters,
So that's the process you use to come up with the levels that you post on the Discord.
Correct.
Nice.
I wake up, I look at the 4 hour chart, and I'm looking for trends, I'm looking for where the bodies are, I'm looking for psychological levels, and then I just, make my assessments, type them up, and then, send them to you guys. For the most part, I would say they're pretty accurate. I mean, what would you guys say?
I mean, 50 hours of data that would be pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good to me.
Yeah. So, you got to imagine, if we're breaking down from 50 hours of action, then that means something's happening, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We waiting 50 hours for something to happen. It finally happens. Then it breaks. But then once we retest it, it doesn't follow through. Yeah, that's trouble. That's big trouble, because that means all these orders already got filled.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that means. So, but if that doesn't happen, that just means we're going the other way.
You use the same process to swing, right?
Correct. Yep. So we have about 4 minutes until open. It looks like we're still inching to the upside. Again, we know we're going to be going upside if we create a higher high over here. The high of this candle right here is, you guessed it, 57.90. Okay. So if we get above 57.90, then we should start to see more buyer volume take us to the upside. But we see already that the market is wanting to stay above that 57.80. Right? We came up, we did a retest. We came up, we did another retest. After that retest, it broke a bit below 57.80, but not anything too significant enough until before the buyers stepped back in and pushed it back above. So there are buyers interested in this area up here. We're gonna just have to see what the news says and how people, well, I guess not the news, what the news says, more so how people react to whatever the news say, and go from there. Just for you guys to know, especially our new traders, the news for me is not to be looked at as far as like the specifics behind what's being spoken. It's more so to monitor the interaction of the market. I've literally seen the same news make the market go up in a minute and then literally go down the next minute and then literally go up the very following minute. Like, so like it's really what the news is saying is really not the point. What's happening is some people and institutions are making decisions as a result of it. But for the most part, it's still about technical analysis from the standpoint of there are levels that hit, there are levels that buyers get bought up, there are levels that there are levels that sellers get bought up as well. It's really just going to be about watching what's actually happening and following the trend. All right, we have 2 minutes left. We have 57.90. It looks like we're approaching. Let's see what happens here before the bell. Typically before news, if I'm not already in a position, let's say I swung or something, then I'm potentially looking at the chart for where to exit. But before news, especially with news being at 10 o'clock, I'm not really looking to enter a position because I know that there's high probability that we'll be going sideways for a little bit. So, definitely take heed to that. When you see that news is going to start, then, it's best to just spectate what's going on in the market and then, kind of jumping in once you make your assessment. So we have about 1 minute left before we end the call. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions, y'all? Market just open. Ooh, getting some good downside here at 82. Coming down to 81. It's currently bleeding right now. It's looking for its next bounce zone. So let's see where it goes. Is it going to stay above 57.80? That's the question. All right, looks like it's trying to peak below it. Breaking now. So here's a question now. Are we going to create higher lows? Because this candle down here, we ended up staying above 57.78. Does this candle get below this one? Does it even wick below that one? That's what we want to know here in this area. But that 5780 is looking like it's really trying to hold. They're trying to hold that area, 5780. Let's see.
So Wasi, that's a good sign that it'll potentially keep moving to the upside,
You see it,
especially if it hits 5790.
when it starts like stuttering
Okay.
like that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, all right,
Mhm.
but why haven't you guys taken it lower just yet? You know,
Right.
that's what I start asking myself once it gets to those levels. Especially
Yeah.
because I'm looking at the chart and telling myself, oh, it hasn't broken it yet. Why isn't it doing that? Well, we've already talked about pre-market about that level and the significance of it, you know. So, and we always talk about, remember I talk about like giving it a little bit of breathing room. Like
Mhm.
if it does touch that 5780 and you might start seeing it get like peak below it, it might still have, you know, some juice in there for us to go to the upside. So sometimes they're grabbing liquidity. And this might be what's happening right now, right? Sometimes they're looking to just fill more orders, maybe have it go low enough to fill orders, and then have buyers take it back to the upside.
Mm.
So it really just depends. It
Yeah.
really depends. Something also to take heed to is where you see the 1 minute candle opening and closing. If we're opening and consistently opening, but like near the lows, that could be some indication that we could be reversing to the other side. If we're closing near the top, that could be some indication that we're going to the upside. But for the most part, the bodies are usually going to stay near the same area of closing on
Mhm.
towards the bottom when we have like the market consolidating. And you can see that here, right? This
Mhm.
four 1 minute candles back to back, all
Right.
basically at the same price level.
Right.
Same thing happening up here, right?
Yeah.
So that's something to always pay attention to. But now we know, okay, we weren't just talking out of nothing. We were really like us saying 5780 is a key level. Now we know that for sure. Look at all this.
Mm.
We know that for sure. So whatever happens here, now we just have to ride with what goes on. If buyers take it up, then we're going up. If sellers want to take it low, then you'll start to see like we wouldn't just hover in this area, you know. You'll start to
Right.
see, you know, 76, 75. And then from there, it's like, oh, yeah, we've definitely broken that zone of 80, you know, of 5780.
Mhm.
Usually it just has to be a significant enough of a move for us to believe in the reversal, right? Like
Gotcha.
we're still touching 5780 every couple minutes here. Like, you
Right.
know, all of these candles still touch this 5780, even as low as we're going. We're still touching 5780 within the candle. Are we going to have a candle where we don't touch 5780? Right?
Oh.
That's the
Okay.
candle that we're wondering, you know, so that we can know which direction we're going. Right? So far, this
Okay.
candle hasn't touched 5780 yet, but
This meeting is being recorded.
The candle's also not finished just yet. Watch this. Boom. All right, there we get the rejection. But here's a point where we say, is it going to actually finish above or below this area? That's where we know if it's going to be going to the downside or not. And you don't really have to be the first one to the party too. Let's say there is a break, there's always going to be a retest. So if it starts breaking, there's still a potential opportunity for it to come back to the area that is testing and then go back to the downside. Or the other, it goes back to the areas testing to the downside and then come back to the upside. So you don't always have to be the first one to the party, but at least know what party you're going to. Right?
That's a good point, Wasi. That's my issue. I always want to be the first to the party because I don't want to miss out.
Yeah.
FOMO.
But you normally wait for the retest?
I always wait for the retest, bro, because it gives me more confirmation for putting heavy size in. Right?
Yeah,
Like
that
that's
makes
for
sense.
me. I'm thinking to myself, like, I just want to put my money in the safest hands possible. So I might not want to put it, in a scenario where it could get eaten up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Looking at the idea of, okay, if this is really supposed to do what it's supposed to do, y'all going to give me another opportunity to do that. Now it's up to you to take that second chance, because obviously you missed the first one on purpose. If you look at the second one in the face and then you miss that, well, I mean, you may not want it enough, to be honest.
Yeah, and if it retests and I come in on a retest and I get stopped out, I'm actually more comfortable because it was a good trade.
Exactly. And it's the second time it happened versus just the first time and it gets stopped out. You didn't even feel any adrenaline yet. You didn't give the room, you didn't give the play opportunity to breathe. If you get in on the retest, the move already breathed a little bit. So now you're in the trade saying, okay, well, y'all already did it. Y'all already faked out somebody. Y'all not faking me out this time. You see?
Yeah.
So it's a different approach. That's really what allows you to not really consider FOMO too much. Because you're thinking to yourself, well, I mean, I'm getting a better opportunity anyway from waiting. So why not just wait?
True. And with your size, you usually come in with size initially, or you come in or you add size once you see it.
I'll scale in, you know what I'm saying? But as far as like, and obviously size is also a relative word anyway.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'll scale in. But then because I've already waited for the retest, I'm also kind of quick to double down as well since I've already waited.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Versus if you go for the first move, then you get faked out, and it's like, damn, I could have just waited for the larger move, and then you might even think it's going the other direction because you got kicked out, not knowing that you was right in the first place, and it just going the direction you was right with in the first place, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure most of y'all potentially have had that happen. Now here's a good example. We're now breaking below and we're achieving new lows. We're going to see ourselves get some buyer volume here, right? We potentially might touch 57.79, 57.80 again, right? That would be the point in time for me where I say, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and grab puts. Why? Because we already broke lower. Now, if I break above 80, then it was a great trade. And also, it took a long time for us to do that. Do I get that opportunity all the time? I might not. But the times in which I do, I'm then deciding that, I'm putting myself in the best scenario to win, at that point. Right? So that's what I would be looking at. I'm always trying to chase this. This is what I'm doing. If I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, this is supposed to go down, I'm looking at this previous candle and I'm saying, man, if only I could grab wherever the high was of this previous candle, I would be so comfortable with getting in this trade, right? And that would obviously be 57.80. Now, does that always happen? Do we always get the retest initially? Most of the time we do, but sometimes we don't, right? And that's perfectly okay. That just allows you to know that you understood what direction the trade was going in, And while you may not have been able to get in the trade, at least you understand the direction in which it's supposed to go. Look at this green here, right? This is a great reason why you wait. This green candle is literally the understanding and the reason why you wait on trades. Because usually the market could give you opportunity to get in. Now, with what's happening right now, obviously there's news that's about to occur. This is very low volume. So, I mean, it's really either or type of scenario. It could go up, it could go down. We can't really see right now because there's not enough volume that is telling us where it's supposed to trend. Although it looks like it's going down, right? Since we're below the 9 EMA. But it's just a tricky situation, at least at this point here. Remember, guys, days that we have news, it's very important to trade lightly so that you don't get knocked out for gambling, essentially, right? Like
Yeah.
not knowing where the move is going and you're just waiting to see if something happens. If you're in so much size and you're just waiting for something to happen, like you're just wishing on a star, and then you just get kicked out, it's going to diminish your confidence levels. You're gonna feel like you're not a good trader, although you weren't even trading. You were just waiting for something to happen, right? So let's not place our confidence on the altar of I just want to make some money, because we have the understanding already that it's the confidence that's going to create the cash flow, right? So the most important thing you guys are going to make sure you need to do on a day-to-day basis is leave the trading floor with your confidence, because that's the only way you're going to come back tomorrow. Some of the best traders I know will literally spend weeks away from the market, months away from the market after doing something that may have potentially cost them too much money or just too much effort or too much time or too much confidence, right? Doing something that they potentially knew that they weren't supposed to do. So you don't want that to be you, right? Because imagine a day where you can actually read the chart, but you just don't have the confidence to take initiative. Now you're giving up money for no reason, right? At that point, you're telling yourself, I'm giving my opportunity away because my confidence is not solidified enough to be able to take initiative, right? You don't want to be in that scenario. So always leave the day with your confidence, even if that means you take a quick trade that you make a couple dollars on. That alone should give you the desire to want to come back into the market the following day. It's just typically harder to look into the market and say, I'm going to take advantage of it today when you take loss after loss after loss after loss consecutive days. It's just typically is just difficult. So you don't want that to be um so I hope that helps somebody. We have news coming up here, guys. Let's wait on hands until we can see what's happening. We're gonna go ahead and hop off. Well, I could let you guys stay on if you guys want to stay on. I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. But let me just make sure I let everybody, have the opportunity to ask whatever question. Um, does anyone have any questions before we segue?
Yeah,
Hey,
well, see, I
boss.
got one more.
Sure.
So yeah, I know it's news coming up, and I know the volume is low. But
Yeah.
if it wasn't news and if it was good volume, and you were seeing the same movement, if
Mhm.
you would come in at a put, if you looking for 80 to come in at a put, would you come in at 80 or would you come in at 79 with a tight stop if it go past 80?
Um, I'll probably do both. It just depends on what the volume is looking like, really. If the
And then
volume
if
looks good and I'm seeing an entry at 79, I'd probably go in at 79. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that if we do get to 80, I still have an opportunity to maybe grab more contracts. But if we get past 80, I'm still sticking to my rules.
and if you came in at 79, your target would be somewhere around 70, or would it be that 60 point?
No, I wouldn't be targeting 70. I would really be targeting just new lows. If I'm in a trade, I'm looking for when I can set new lows and then
Mhm.
start exiting there.
Okay.
So especially if I'm in a put that's essentially like downside that's just about to happen in the market, then yeah, I'm targeting new lows, and then from there I'm just setting different stops, waiting to essentially get kicked out the trade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep. I think I
Hey,
heard
hey,
another
hey,
question.
Walter, this is me, Pierre. How everybody doing?
What's up here?
Hey, what I've been noticing is when the market is just opening, it kind of take a drop for a bit before it actually, make a bigger move on going up or down. Now, does that varies in the morning when the market is just open? That it takes a little dip and then it rises up after a while.
Yeah, that's not typical, really. That's just it's usually like if the market opens and there's a drop, that's because people are taking profits. But it's not every morning that people take profits initially. Because you gotta think about it. If there's a day where we have significant downside, like for instance, earlier this year we had a day when it was like 200 points down, and it was maybe like -3 or something for the day. The next day was just all green. I don't think there was a red candle that whole day, right? And I'm obviously I'm being facetious, but for the most part, you'll see days where it's just from the morning bell is just straight upside. So I wouldn't necessarily hold that. I mean, obviously, if it's something you're watching every day, it's something that's you're seeing, but it's not necessarily something to take action on at least until you're able to find consistency in seeing stuff like that. But like I said, there's some days that happens, but there's other days where it doesn't. Like yesterday is a perfect example. Yesterday was just complete sideways. There was like literally no like the entire day of 8 hours. I think we stayed within a range of 20 points, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it did.
that may not be always the case. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah,
You're right about that because it varies. Now, what I notice is it varies.
yeah.
And you can't really be in it too long because it will switch out. It will switch out
Exactly.
on
Yeah. Remember, we're not here for a long time. We here for a good time. So it's gonna really be about taking profits quickly, identifying where your profit target is, and taking immediate action.
you. All right, all right.
Yep.
Appreciate that, Walt.
Yep. No problem, Pierre. Anybody else?
I got a quick question.
Sure.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, when you say volume, like, what do you look for when you're looking for volume? Get
Ooh,
into
That's a
it.
great. Ooh, 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 ooh.
ooh.
That right there, that candle right there, that's what I mean by volume. Literally, when you see when the candles are
Yeah.
long and quick like that, okay, that is volume. Okay, that's a great example of volume. Literally, as you were saying it.
Yeah,
Um.
this is
Wow.
Fletcher, by the way, Wacky.
Okay, what's up, Richard? How you doing, man?
I'm good, bro.
Cool, cool, cool. Yeah. So, that essentially is volume. Essentially, when we're seeing, and with volume, there's usually volatility as well. So that means like when we have candles that have more than just 1 or 2 points within them, right? So basically, when we have longer ranging candles, like this is a long range candle, right? The range it says 2 points.
Ooh.
Like
Man, there
this,
was a lot of money we just missed out on, man.
yeah.
This
And
how I
and
made
guess,
my money the other night, man. Just like this.
but
Going
listen,
down.
but listen. What level did we say was the pivotal level?
And we came in. I didn't take the 80 put because it wasn't before that drop. It wasn't a lot of volume, and news was coming up in
Yeah,
like 10 minutes. But if it
correct.
wasn't for that, I
So
would have took that
that's
80 put.
and that's Zaki. That's actually great analysis as far as your decision making because you're saying something. You're saying that you saw what you saw, but there were also other factors that made you essentially be patient, which is perfect, right? Because in other scenarios, it could have went the other direction, right?
True.
So you're making the right analysis. Obviously, knowing that it's going the direction we saw already is obviously a great feeling because we told ourselves it was going to have to go to what area were we talking about?
80, 57, 80.
5780, and then that's the area we tagged up here, right?
Yeah.
Now, this tagging is considered what? A
A
retest.
retest.
Thank you, Zaki. A retest. Now, how much better off are we having waited getting in at 5780 over here than than prior, like potentially.
Oh yeah, you feel a lot more comfortable
Exactly.
because you got more confirmation.
Thank you very much. This is literally everything I was just talking about, literally in real time, happening in real time. Okay, this is a lesson learned. This is exactly why I wait for the retest. And with everything that already happened over here, right? By the time we get up here, if we do get downside, that's when you start seeing those longer candles. Okay, because it's like, all right, y'all know y'all not supposed to be here, so they kicked them out. They kicked them out of that price level, right? And then kicked them down because up here they already told that y'all not supposed to be up here, right? It's like your big cousins when they all upstairs and they don't want you to be around, right? When you was younger, they kick you out. But here's the deal: by the time they already told you once, so when you try to go back upstairs again, now they start wanting to use physical harm. Okay, and so when that happens, you start getting pushed to the downside. Now you got pushed down the steps. Okay, that's what's happening right now.
It
Okay,
all start with that pre-market analysis.
it did.
Because you wouldn't even have that 5780 number in mind without that pre-market analysis.
Exactly. None of it happens without that pre-market analysis. Literally none of it. Right? Because if we don't have that pre-market analysis, then we're all over the place in our decision making. We don't know what's what. We don't know what we're looking for. We don't know how. Like none of it. Right? That's why it's so key. It's always going to be key to have that understanding before you get in the market, so that you could just watch the market for what it's doing, not for what you want it to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I really appreciate that weatherman post that you be posting up before, even without the Zoom calls. The weatherman post you post up really helps out.
Yeah, I mean, it plays out. It plays out, right? Like literally, we're watching it happen, in real time. So that's literally doing your homework in the morning, figuring out what levels you're supposed to be hitting, and then taking action when you start seeing some interactions, right?
Where's the weatherman post at?
That's in the Discord, Nalita.
Oh, in Discord.
Yeah.
Can you
That's when I
send the
posted.
link to the Discord again, Wasi? Because for some reason it will only send me to the wealth creators, which we don't even have Discord on there anymore, which is weird.
Okay. Yeah. I'll get you situated with that. Yeah.
I don't think he weatherman no more. I think he's sensei now.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I said my name, but
That's
yeah.
what he's sensei. He ain't weatherman no more.
Yeah. I think I'm both really, but we're gonna ride with Sensei. Sensei sounds cooler. So here we're seeing. So guys, remember, anytime you guys see up down in the area, that's literally telling you something's supposed to happen at some point. Okay, you've seen this a lot on 1 minute charts. That means it's just think about somebody being agitated. Okay, like tug of war. Remember, I was telling you guys, at some point in time, somebody's going to take possession. Okay, and so when you see that, that should be something quick, and that should alert you that something should happen. Okay, same thing up here from pre-market. When you see that up down in the same area, something's supposed to occur, right? Same thing over here. Those are things you want to notate on your charts so that you can have a edge over the other participants in the market. All right.
That's what made yesterday so weird, because it was agitated all day.
Yeah, it's just staying in the same area. No one was taking possession. That's what that was. No one was taking possession yesterday. So those are typically not days that I like trading. If I'm seeing it do that throughout the whole day, and for the most part, days like that, you're not even going to see the candles move like within like having long ranges. So if that's the case, then it's a good day to even just rest your mental. Maybe go back and look at trading videos, looking at different teaching materials, things like that, because you don't want to sacrifice your confidence on a day when you don't have any volume in the market. It's just not a good risk to reward. Save your confidence. Save it for the next day. Especially let's say you had a great day the day before. Then you enter into a day when there's no volatility, no volume, no nothing, and then you lose all those profits. Now you're just looking like, man, the day before was just a big waste at that point. But you don't want it. You don't want that to be you, because then you're going to start thinking about the following day with that same feeling, and that feeling is not the feeling of abundance. So if anything, you're going to want to just hold on to your confidence and allow that to be what drives you to the cash flow. So I hope that helps somebody that's listening.
Yes, sir. It helps me.
Thanks, Nalita. All right, y'all. So we're still here creating new lows. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Now, what I want to know, has anyone entered this trade as a sell? But this is a lot of money that got missing. That
Yeah.
got lost in this trade.
I did, and then I set my stop loss at 57.80, and as you see on that candle on the 5-minute chart, after that candle that went green, the red pushed up and it knocked me out,
Yeah.
and I didn't get back in.
Yeah.
Oh, so you didn't come in at 80. Your stop loss was at 80.
My stop loss was at 80. I came in at 57.78-ish. 57, 78, 79, somewhere in that
Because
area.
if it hit 80, it wouldn't exactly be a new high. I like to
Well,
stop my stop loss at something that would be like a new high. Because if it hit 80, it's still within a trend.
Hey, Wasi, I wanted to ask you.
Gotcha.
Yo.
So now, if you're on a sell position now, and
Yeah.
it's going downward, now how would you be able to place a stop loss and still be able to collect your funds from there? How does that work?
Basically, you just place your buy order where you would want to stop. So you just click on the screen and then just hit buy one stop, and then if it triggers that level, then you'll get out of that trade. I think you're trading futures here, so that's how you would do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Appreciate it.
I'll send you a video on it too.
Yeah, please do, because I want to understand that part. Because the other night I was set up right, and it was on a downward position, but I didn't know how to set the stop loss.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll send you a video.
All right.
Well, so you still, especially if it's something that you got some real room for, you still setting your break evens around 6 points or 3 on futures.
Ooh.
I mean, it's for me. It really depends on. It depends on how long I've been waiting on the move and whatever profit I've already been in for the day. So, for instance, if let's say I made 1,000 so far for that day, I might be a little more lenient as far as my stop loss to multiply the money a little bit more since I'm paying profits. But like if it's been a day where I haven't really made money yet, then I'm definitely more vigilant about keeping my capital close to me. So I really look at this. That's amazing.
Ooh, this is a lot of money you just lost out on, Leslie.
Yeah.
If you would have stayed in that position,
That's news though. That's news though.
But one thing about it, two things for sure. If you didn't think I didn't jump back in this trade and snipe me some $400 profit just then, I did. Don't do it, Pierre. You already know, Pierre. I gets in and I gets out.
That's
you ain't even nothing, huh?
Yes.
If you didn't think I just made me a good quick $400 for that candle receipt, listen. And whatever else happens is whatever else happens. I'm gonna catch it on the bounce back.
Oh man, if you still in it,
catch it
girl,
on
you
the bounce
eating that
back.
money right now. You eating.
Yeah. This is amazing downside, y'all.
Yeah.
Amazing
Man,
downside.
I should have got in on this trade. Darn it.
I think if you would have made money through this trade, it might have been a bad habit to hold it through news, even though you would have made some money.
Right.
I think if you holding it through
No,
news will probably burn you more than
Yeah, I
anything
mean,
else.
and that's exactly saying that that's somebody that's been trading for a while, because literally news is a very, very unique occurrence. This isn't something that happens all the time.
it certainly
So
does.
when you do have a drop like this, you have to think as a lottery ticket. You can't think of it as something that you can just bank on every single time. So
Mhm.
it's going to be about taking profits and taking it quickly. And like for me, I typically tell people, like, I'll have a big day in the market, but I'll try to hide the money somewhere to almost forget about it, because I don't like my emotions being too high. I've seen times when I'll make, let's say 25 grand in a day, and I'll turn around the following day feeling myself, and then literally give most of it back to the market because
Yeah,
of just nonchalance, a nonchalant, like, prideful attitude. You don't want
yeah.
Mhm.
I experienced that. I experienced that part. I know exactly what you're
Okay,
talking.
so now I know I'm talking. So you don't want to be somebody that experiences that, because those losses are very painful. Because then you
Mhm.
have to think about the money that you lost, but also you have to deal with the feeling of, like, man, was I really that dumb? Like, in that moment to do that, like, those are the things those are the feelings you don't want to feel while you're trading, because those are not
But
feelings that allow you to be successful.
if you position yourself right as it's going down, you can still gain that money and still get in the trade.
Yeah.
Position
Yeah.
yourself in a way
Dang, we
where
It's
done
you.
all it's
passed
all about the
yesterday's
stop loss.
low.
That's what's happening right now too. It's really just about your stop loss. If you have your stop loss set correctly and you've entered into the trade already at a place where you're supposed to have entered into it, then you don't really have worries, right? We always talk about the idea of potentially never seeing red on that trade, right? That's
Mhm.
that's the idea of that, is when you enter in at the right point in time. And by the time you enter in at the right point in time, now you have the opportunity to now reap the benefit of that decision you made. You know, so this
Yeah,
this right here is lovely downside. Obviously, is based on whatever is going on right now, in the news. Um, so you guys always have that, that thinking at the back of your mind.
Yeah, like you said, news do kind of confirm a trend, so it is an opportunity for a retest after the fact.
Right.
Yeah.
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 And I wait on the retest a lot of times to
Yeah.
see what it's gonna do, because it pushed yesterday's lows just then.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
For anybody trading futures, Apex do have a rule with trading through news though, in terms of
Okay.
approvals.
What's that?
Well, I think not WASI. I think normally if you trade through news and they see you consistently trading through news, they could not approve a payout.
Oh, I've read something like that. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, that's
So
interesting.
I see the current news, the little globe on the right hand
Mhm.
side or whatever. But what you read, Wasi, where it's like green and red and green and red, like where do you find that news?
You mean as far as?
That's the Forex Factory.
Okay.
Oh, okay, the red folder.
Where's
Okay,
that?
yeah. It's a forexfactory.com.
I'm gonna post that link in the Discord to Forex Factory.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Well, yay.
Any other
At least
questions, y'all?
No.
Y'all good?
Yeah.
yes. At least I went back up. My $600 I had went down. I got my money back.
I love that. I love that.
I was
Congrats
like,
on that.
oh yay. You said leave with your confidence. So yay. I got
Yes,
my confidence back.
All
I
right,
love that.
Miss
I love that. I love that. Cool, cool. Well, all right, y'all. I'll leave y'all to it. I hope you guys have a bountiful day for the rest of the day.
Yell.
Thank you so much.
Likewise.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rossi.
Have a blessed day, family.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day, y'all.
Peace and love to everybody. Y'all have a safe day.
All right.
All right, you
All right.
too. I'm hungry.